look, I do have to admit that my wife and I like watch some bad TV, and I don't know if you guys watch Below Deck, and then and then Andy Cohen comes on after the show, and he always asks embarrassing questions, and
that's what you're on.
And well, so I can either drink or answer the question, one of the two.
That's exactly it. That's literally the inspiration. You are, oh gosh, Jill, this is going to be a great episode.
I mean, we're basically the same person. Brian Schmetzer
up your alley.
has his wine, his tequila. He knows who Andy Cohen is, and he watches some Bravo. Yeah. I think we could end the interview right now.
I know.
What's up, everybody? This is the call up, and welcome on into our AT&T 5G virtual studios. I don't know if you can tell, but it's a big day. And for that reason, we have our Brian Schmetzer uniforms on. Jillian Sakovitz alongside Susannah Collins. We didn't plan this. We just have a telepathic relationship.
This is amazing.
We look the same, PS,
you guys,
for our audio listeners.
Literally, we both showed up. We turned on our stream, and I was like, oh, we are wearing the exact same thing. But this is not the first time this has happened. We just share a brain, and this is why we're best friends, and this is why this podcast
As
works.
We've said before, me plus you equals one brain.
I feel like we've talked about this on the pod before, but you and I have always been slightly intimidated by Brian Schmetzer. Scared. Yeah, we'll just say it, scared. And we've been putting out this request to Seattle to have him on, and it finally worked out where like the timing worked out and it was finalized, and I was so excited because we wanted to have him on, but then I got this wave of like, oh my God. Happening. Yeah. Oh, it literally like day before a test feel, that whole like nervous stomach, because Brian Schmetzer always comes across as the smartest guy in the room. And I want to impress him. I don't want to let him down. I want him to think that I'm smart too.
He's the kind of guy where when I've bugged him on the sideline, during an FS1 game, where like, as soon as you're going to do it, you're just being like,
Mm-hmm.
like you want to ask the question and you're like, Brian, I know you're coaching a game.
I know.
But I'm trying to keep my job, and this producer's in my ear being like, we need to hear something from Seattle. We're 12 minutes in this game. And you're like, so, hey, you, could you assess the situation right now? I know it's 0-0 and I know you've been screaming, but like, could you talk about it? And then you're just like, please don't hate me.
And
because he's so smart, he looks at you and you're just like, I'm sorry.
I know.
I know he's nice, so that helps. You know he's not the type of coach, and there's not many in MLS, that's going to embarrass you.
Yeah.
And kind of like sandbag you,
Mm-hmm.
but he is one of the more intimidating guys. He intimidates me more than Bob Bradley.
Agreed.
Until today, where he knew that he is coming on the coolest show in the game, and then I was like, my man, Brian.
It was, I loved this interview because, well, it's why I love the podcast. I feel like we always bring out just a different side to people. And I feel like we definitely saw a different side to Brian Schmetzer today. And he is lovely. And I promised him that we will not be intimidated ever again to speak to him when we have to interview him.
Here for this, Q2 Stadium opened this past weekend. Beautiful. Love the green. Very unique. But there's a reason, Susannah Collins, your inside sources are telling you that we got to go.
So there are so many reasons to go to see this stadium because it's beautiful. It's Austin. The murals, I mean, just the way it's set up, all the technology that went into the actual stadium. Exactly. Matthew McConaughey, maybe bumping into Matthew McConaughey, that wouldn't be the worst. But Jill, the food.
I'm hungry.
The food. I know. So am I. The food at this stadium is meant to be just out of this world. And so I do have some inside sources that paid a little visit and gave me some of the intel, like the pulled pork. They've got pulled pork nachos, just like the taco situation.
Can you tell I haven't been out much? I miss
like a whole food truck thing happening. I know. I was literally salivating, and so I feel like for that reason alone, for many other reasons, it's worth the trip. We got to go.
So
Can I reveal to you a little? It's not a secret, but it's just something that I've thought about for years.
We're going to All-Star Game.
And that I just want that too. This could be part of it, but I have always wanted to do a show about stadium food, like, especially in MLS, called True Concessions, which I think is just a bomb title, True Concessions. And we go and we sample the foods at the different stadiums and then give a full report. And then maybe there's like a little interview segment where we sit down with the player or coach there and we enjoy some nachos.
Or the cashier.
Exactly. But don't you think this is a great idea? I'm going to put it out there so that people are like, yeah, no, that's content I want to see. True Concessions, people.
True Concessions be a great segment on the call-up. Something else we're here for is this past weekend we watched the league and clubs celebrate freedom on Juneteenth with powerful jerseys designed by Israel Solomon. The guys at Extra Time spoke to him, so make sure you check out that interview if you missed it. But we're saving the best for last here, Susannah Collins. And
is it?
I'm going to let you take this one. But basically, are you here for poolside feet? Male.
Okay.
Tell me what you're thinking when you put this in our rundown here, girlfriend.
Okay. Because
how am I supposed to show that I'm at a pool?
I know. Exactly. No. And this is the thing. We have all done it. We're at a beautiful location. We're at a pool. It's pristine. It's a beautiful background. And so the natural inclination is to take a picture of, like your legs stretched out, your toes, and there's the water in the background. Great. Now, typically, if I am in this situation, you and I will probably look at Jill is putting up her beautiful socked foot to the camera right now. Looks great.
There's more where this
I will not do that because I'm barefoot and I have not had a pedicure. But my point is that typically in that situation, I will have had a pedicure. So my feet look fairly presentable.
A filter always helps.
But dudes, specifically soccer dudes, I am telling you right now, don't do it. Don't do the poolside foot pic selfie because your feet are gross. Soccer feet are gross. And I don't care how beautiful that background is. Your feet are ruining all of it because they're bruised, they're crunched, they're weird shaped. There's calluses. There's a lot going on. There's things going in different directions that they shouldn't be going in. Please don't do it. And I'm not going to call out anyone specifically, but it's the summer months. It's pool season. We're seeing a lot of this on the gram. And I am just asking those gentlemen
can men not do foot selfies or soccer men?
Soccer men in particular. I mean, I feel like, men.
I don't really like.
I will tell you the last 2 times I've gotten a pedicure, there have been dudes getting pedicures. And so men are taking care of their feet as they should, but soccer feet, it's almost like they're beyond help. It's like dancer feet. Our producer Galena brought this up. She is a dancer. Dancer feet are gnarly. Like they're just, you've been
basically the more talented you are, the more disgusting your feet are.
Yeah. Time now for our AT&T 5G call to the field, and it is a big day on the call-up because at long last, Jill, head coach of the Seattle Sounders, Brian Schmetzer, is joining us for our little MLS happy hour that we like to call it. We actually did send Brian a bottle of wine just to, make him feel right at home on this podcast.
We'll do a virtual cheers. Yeah, a little virtual.
There you go.
Virtual cheers.
Virtual cheers. Coach, we are so thrilled to have you on. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
Wine and tequila. What else?
We are off to such a good start.
That's when the team's not doing well, and us Seattle coaches, we go right for the bottle.
Okay. I like your style.
The wine's for the wins. The wine is for the wins.
Yeah.
Celebratory.
Wins, a nice glass of wine for sure.
Love this. Okay, so
Brian, we have been wanting to get you on this pod for a very long time. And one of the reasons that we have the wine involved is that, truth be told, Jill and I needed a little liquid courage because you are one of these coaches that when we interview, it's like I don't want to let you down. And I know Jill feels the same. So we're always like, we need to prepare the best questions for Brian Schmetzer because this man knows way more than I do. And I don't want to look like a fool in front of him. Are we overthinking this, Coach?
Way overthinking it. Way overthinking it. I mean, I'm the easy interview. If you interviewed Preki or Gonzo or Jimmy or Tommy, they'd be all the tactics and everything. They'd put you through the ringers. Me, I don't even know what I have up on my board. I mean, just stuff. No, it's going to be an easy interview. I appreciate everything you guys do for MLS and sports, and it's going to be super easy.
Brian, something that people in Seattle and true diehard MLS people know is the fact that you are so Seattle through and through. Born and raised there. Your career as a player started with the Sounders back in 1980 when you signed with the team when they were part of NASL. Fast forward to today, a few decades later, you're the head coach. You've won some championships. You've won some trophies. Was this ever on your radar? Did you know it was going to go this way?
No. I mean, no. Look, the shortened version, because I could talk about this for a long time, not that my career was long, it's just that I'm old. When I was 17 years old, somebody shoved a piece of paper in front of me and said, hey, do you want to play professional soccer? And, we're going to pay you to play soccer. So that was a super easy decision to make. We went through the NASL, then it moved into the indoor soccer. Then I took a little break because I had to get a real job because I had to retire because I was a little older. Then the A-League came back and the Sea Dogs of the CISL and some other iterations of Seattle soccer scene. Then I really retired. And then, Jill, in 2002, I get a phone call just like out of the blue. And I was coaching youth soccer on the side and doing construction. That was my main source of income. And this guy by the name of Adrian Hanauer calls me and he says, hey, Brian, my name is Adrian Hanauer. I just took over the A-League or USL franchise at the time. I want to talk to you about the Sounders. And I was like going, well, I don't know who this guy is. What does he want to talk about? Is it soccer camps? Is it something? I just didn't know. Did he want to sell season tickets to me? I don't know. And I told him we had to meet at the Tully's coffee shop next to my kid's school. I was going to drop my kids off. I go there. Neil Farnsworth, who was one of the bigger owners, who I knew was there. I knew it was more than just soccer camps or season tickets. And it was just out of the blue. And somewhere in that interview with those two gentlemen, I said something correct. And I got the job as the USL coach. So here I am.
You have credited your father, Walter, who was German. He played in the third division before he emigrated to the United States. You credited him for just establishing your love of the game. He also started the Schmetzer Sports House, which was a Seattle institution. Can you tell us what are some of the biggest influences that he has had on you as a player and as a coach?
Yeah, I was indoctrinated into our sport very early. I think I might have played pee-wee baseball like one season. It just didn't work. I mean, it just wasn't going to happen. So I decided not to do it. The cool thing about that is my dad was super passionate about soccer, and he started our little local team. And back in those days, there were no select teams or all-star teams or anything like that. It was just your neighborhood. We were in this neighborhood called Lake City, and we were the Lake City Hawks. And I can tell you that from age 8 years old or U8 soccer through U18 soccer, 10 of the guys that were on the original team were still on the team at U18, which is unheard of nowadays because of select soccer and all of the academies and stuff like that. And those 10 guys are still some of my best friends that I had today. So growing up, it was really cool. We all rode our bikes down to that local elementary school after school and just kicked the ball around. So it was really kind of, a pretty cool upbringing. And again, it doesn't happen much these days. I mean, I had to come home when street lights came on. That was my mom said, when the street lights come on, you gotta go home. All of those things we don't let our kids do these days. So I was pretty fortunate there. And then, my dad, the biggest compliment I can probably give him is we had a captain of our youth team. His name was GJ Pollock. And GJ was a good guy, super talented soccer player. He was the captain of the team, and my dad loved GJ. He kept talking about, oh, GJ's so good, and Gerald John was his real name. GJ's so good, and this and that. And I was like, well, what about me, Dad? I mean, what about me? And so I'd go home on a Sunday, and we'd have dinner. And my dad would talk to me, and it would go in one ear and out the other. And what I told my dad many, 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 many years later, I said, Dad, you know what? I used to hate Sunday dinners, but you know what? All the information that went in one ear and out the other, I retained about half of it. So thank you for that.
It's a good ratio. So immigrant parents, which again, you don't always get now, immigrant parents, but also you said you worked construction prior. You've had so much success. I'd have to think that maybe having a career prior to coaching, where do you draw from construction and what you did in construction? And how does construction relate to coaching? Because I know there's some parallel in there.
Well,
yeah, that wasn't in the rundown, Susannah.
That was a good one, Jill.
That's actually one of my favorite storylines of my life, because I tell my own kids this. My parents grew up in post-war Germany, and they are frugal. My mother is frugal. My father passed away a few years ago, but my mother is still alive, and she is still to this day very frugal. She will do, just unbelievable things to save a nickel here, a dime here, or reuse something, repurpose wood. And she is actually the person that I get all my skills from. My mom does stained glass. She remodeled our house, added like countertops and sinks back when we were growing up. She was really super talented in many ways, but it was by necessity, because we just couldn't afford to have a contractor come in and add a room in the basement, anything. We just didn't have any money. One of my stories that I tell my kids is that we had a house that had some property on it, and my parents were building a garage. And I still remember at age 10, 11, somewhere in there, my job was to take the nails out of the old 2x4s that my parents collected, and I would have to straighten the nails and then put them into the Folger coffee can, because they reused the nails. And that's how I started in construction.
That's an amazing story. And also, I think my dad has a can of used nails down in our garage. So there you go. It's still a trend.
Brian, what other, you mentioned like stained glass and some of the skills that you picked up from your grandmother. Or what do you do in your free time? Like what's a Brian Schmetzer hobby? Like, are you artistic? Do you still build things with your construction background?
I wish I could show you, or I'd share the screen, but every year we kind of do small little remodel projects around our own house. And of course, I don't do all of the work, but I like to pitch in every now and again. We just remodeled a couple of bedrooms in our house. I do like to cook. I am a good cook. My wife, Christine, she likes to bake. So it's a good merger, a good partnership there. We work in our yard. I mean, I do stuff to just take some of the stress off.
Yeah.
Although
weeding is where it's at.
Yeah. I mean, look, we've been successful. Seattle's a great franchise. It's a great job. I'm not complaining by any stretch of the imagination, but there is some inherent stress in the job. And so I like to go home, and, I get to the office a little earlier than most. And so I can leave at 3:30, somewhere like that. I get home by 4:00, and then I'm done. And then just do what I want to do. Not really focusing on soccer unless there's, of course, a big game on that night or something like that. I'll tune in, but I like to shut it down when I get home.
It's incredible to be able to do that. And you talk to coaches all the time who will say, oh, I don't read what's out there, this and that. And you're not super on social media, but be honest. Like, do you Google Sounders and see what people are saying? Are there some beat writers that you're trying to see like what they're saying, or you really turn it off?
Sure. Here's my social media presence, myself. Yes, not big, but I have a burner Instagram account that I follow all my players. So a lot of times I'll look at my players and make sure that they're behaving themselves.
Like a good dad would.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, you have to keep tabs on New.
Yeah.
I mean,
Follow your kids on that burner account too, Brian Schmetzer?
say that again.
You follow your kids on that burner account too.
They know my phone number. They won't let me follow them. So I can't do it. But I do follow some of the players. It is information, that I poke fun at them sometimes and start conversations with. And then, we've got a lively blog, Sounder at Heart. That's a big blog here in Seattle. And there'll be days when I get on there and I see what they say and what they talk about, just to have information about what the fans are feeling, how the fans are feeling. I think that's important. I mean, look, I am a Seattle guy, and this is it's a great job. It means a lot to me. So being in tune with what the fans think is important. But I would say, look, I'm not going to, again, use my phone and just go down a rabbit hole for 2 hours. No, I'm too old for that.
Oh gosh, that's a very healthy approach to life, because man, sometimes I'm very guilty of that, and it's not the best. It's not great for your mental health, Brian. I'll tell you that much.
You're probably going to hate this question, but I feel like it's one that we've discussed as, pundits, especially because of the prolonged success of this Seattle team. And you talk about, you kind of alluded to the pressure and the stress that can cause. Because Seattle's just one of these teams that are inherently, they're always good. They're always there. But with that, comes a lot of fodder. And I read in an article that said that you are the most underrated coach in soccer, not just MLS, just like in soccer. Brian Schmetzer's most underrated coach in soccer. Do you have any sort of reaction to that? Do you care if that's a conversation? Are the accolades something that you would welcome? What's your kind of take on that?
I'd be happy to debate any pundits about my team, our team.
Mm-hmm.
Happy to, because I know the sides, and I know I'd win that discussion. I always give credit to my assistants, because I have a really, really talented, diverse coaching staff. I mean, Precky's a former coach of the year. He's kind of the counterbalance to me. He's all intensity, and his coaching style is different than mine, but we're the two old guys. Then Gonzo and Jimmy are taking their UEFA A and UEFA Pro licensing together right now. And those guys are on the cutting edge. They get all the new, ideas, drills. Gonzo's from Mexico, and he's played there, and that's a big league. Jimmy obviously is a Champions League winner. His experiences in the game are so much bigger than mine. And I draw on all of those guys and their experiences. I forgot about Tommy. Can't forget about Tommy. I mean, the reason why Stefan Fry is so good is because Tommy Dutra. And, those guys really do a lot of the heavy lifting and a lot of the coaching. It's me, I kind of manage the players and manage egos and figure out who we're going to play on a Sunday. And those guys do a lot of the heavy lifting. So I don't mind when people say I'm underrated, because, that's okay. It just means that, that I can sit back and enjoy my life, and I don't have to be too stressed out. And, it's easy for me.
Well, you should be enjoying life right now, Brian Schmetzer, despite what everybody said, despite the disappointment of seeing Jordan Morris go down. Seattle Sounders, yet again, are sitting pretty, 18 points, leading Major League Soccer. What's the secret sauce of 2021 for the Seattle Sounders? Why is it working for you guys this year?
Sheer luck.
No.
I don't believe it.
That's for the pundits out there. So all the guys,
That's for extra time radio. This is the call up. It's a safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Let me change gears again. Know my audience. Okay. Yes, I'm going to give you guys the complete answer. A lot of people, extra time and all those guys, don't think we coach tactics here in Seattle. That's not the case. We actually have tactics. They might not be as stringent or rigid as some other coaches in the league, and that's okay, because you can win with different styles. That's okay. Our mantra here in Seattle is to try to put the players in the best positions to succeed, and also to build their confidence and their actual soccer acumen to be able to, on the field, make decisions on their own and problem solve on the field. Those are two big ideas that I try and get across to all of the players on our team. And so far this year, it's worked. I mean, we've put Nuhu in a prime position, Brad Smith, Alex Roldan, Will Bruin has helped, Raul, Christian has been lights out as Nico's replacement as a 10, between Ymar, Shane, Javi. I mean, those three guys are good center backs, but the group of them together, their strength in numbers. I mean, we put our players in positions to succeed. And so you look, and look, there was a little bit of fear in the coaching staff in preseason because we worked really hard in preseason. We actually had a different preseason plan. We were going to do a more robust, physical kind of, heavier preseason, but we kind of changed gears after Jordan went down with his ACL, and we fully committed to, three center backs. And so a lot of our, tinkering in the preseason was just about the tactics of how we wanted to play. And so it could have gone, that first game, maybe we lose, or, who knows, the first three games could have struggled. And, maybe we would have been idiots for trying to change the three center backs, but knock on wood, it's worked for us.
Yeah, it certainly has. And it's just, hearing you talk about, I love the way you say, you want to put your players in the best position to succeed. I feel like that is, that's what a boss should do in all walks of life. And for that reason, guys love to play for you. Anytime I have done an interview with a Seattle Sounders player, they're so quick to point to you, to give you the credit. And I know that you've got such a great relationship with the guys on the squad, particularly Jordan Morris. I know that is a really a special young man to you, a special young man to the city of Seattle. We were heartbroken and devastated for him when he went down with that knee injury earlier this year. Have you been able to keep up with him and speak with him? What have those conversations look like, and how's his recovery going?
Yeah, his recovery is going really well from a physical perspective. But Susannah, you nailed it on the head. Look, he's a local guy, done really well. He's done exceptional. His family's very nice. He's just an all-around nice kid. And so you can't help but just feel bad for him with another, severe injury. But actually what he told me when he's here, and he's here he's here at the facility every day. He comes in for treatment every day. What he said was, actually, this time around, it's not as bad as the first time. The first time he was like really down in the dumps and depths of, depression, despair, all of that. So he kind of knows what the rehab is. And so he kind of like, it's okay. And then the other thing that's going for him is, look, Jordy DeLem, a squad guy for us, did his ACL. So now he's like the older brother to Jordy. He's helping Jordy DeLem kind of go through, okay, this is what you're going to feel, and this is how we're going to do this. We're going to do this together. Nico's been injured. He had a little surgical repair on his knee. So those guys are all in the training room pushing each other hard to kind of get back as soon as they can. So, it's a little bit easier for him. He'll still have some down days for sure, but he's doing fine. And there's a real tiny sliver of hope that he makes it for the playoffs. But we'll see.
Yeah, fingers
Brian
and toes
Schmetzer,
crossed.
yes,
Fingers
thank
and
you.
toes crossed.
Yeah, fingers and toes crossed. Thank you so much. Interview portion wasn't so bad. Now it's just the final part of the call up. We are going to play a casual little round of, it's a little game, Brian Schmetzer. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Never Have I Ever. Never Have I Ever with Brian Schmetzer. You have to hold up 3 fingers. We promise it will be
This one.
Yeah.
It's pretty soccer centric, I'd say. And we'll start off easy. And you only put your, Suze, it goes, you only put your finger down if you've done it, right?
Yes.
It's been a minute since I played this.
I know.
Okay. So
It's big in the high school
So
part.
if I've done something, I put my finger down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the last one to be
Typically, you take a drink. Typically, you take a sip
but
of
we're
your
going to do
beverage.
fingers.
But we're
because
adjusting.
it is 2:00 Pacific time and Brian Schmetzer is at work, people. Okay. Never have I ever gone skydiving. Okay.
Gone hiking?
No, skydiving.
Skydiving.
Oh, skydiving. No.
Okay. So we keep
Not
our
for me.
fingers.
Never want to. Don't want to.
Me neither.
Don't want to. No.
Suze, go ahead.
Absolutely not. This is a good one. Never have I ever used my likeness to make a dinner reservation. So kind of like threw your name out there to secure maybe a table.
Because it would only really, I mean, I don't know if our likenesses
No one
would do
knows.
much.
No
good.
one knows who we are.
Only at my local restaurants. I live in Madison Valley, and there's a bunch of local places. And sometimes, if I'm lazy, I don't want to cook, I'll call and say, "Do you have a table open?" They do know me. Sometimes I can get in.
Brian,
It's
you've
Brian.
earned that right. You have earned that right.
Okay. Never have I ever skipped a press conference.
Ooh.
Okay.
We're all guilty.
Don Garber's listening.
All guilty on that one. Never have I ever driven a motorcycle.
Now,
Moped? Does moped count?
Yeah, I have been on a
no,
Vespa.
mopeds don't count because I've driven a moped.
No.
No mopeds, motorcycle.
Maybe a 50cc Yamaha when I was like 13.
Okay, that counts. I feel like that
kind of
counts.
sounds like a motorcycle to me.
Yeah, that sounds intense.
Never have I ever tried to fool your next opponent via media availability.
Ooh.
Can't say I have.
Yeah, no, that doesn't really apply.
I don't really care. Those guys, I have the most open training facility ever. And it's just
You do.
fortunate that the guys that cover the team know that I'm really open. And if they would ever leak anything or do anything that was disparaging to a result on a Saturday, they wouldn't be allowed back in. So I don't play games.
You don't mess.
Good for
I
you.
don't care.
All right, last one. Never have I ever gotten a tattoo. Clearly, mine's showing.
Oh, wait, we got to have someone lose.
Is it
Okay.
you?
Well, the one with the
No.
most fingers.
But that makes me a bigger loser.
It didn't work out though. No. Yeah, I have gotten hit. Wait, Brian, do you have a tattoo?
No.
Oh,
No,
if
then you would have put one of his fingers down.
would you ever get like a Seattle Sounders tattoo? If you win MLS Cup again this year, would you do it?
No. Like Kellen Rowe or my kids or whatever. Yeah. No, I'm not going to get I'm afraid of needles.
Fair enough, Brian.
That's the end of
Schmetzer.
Never Have I Ever with Brian Schmetzer.
Oh, what a guy, Brian! I will tell you this. I will never be intimidated to speak to you ever again. And in fact, I very much look forward to being able to interview you pregame, postgame, whatever. You are an absolute gem. Seattle is lucky to have you.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. I have enjoyed this very, very, very much.
I'm so glad.
Thank you so
Brian.
much. Coach, and you know what? I meant to mention this off the top of the show. My first memory of Brian Schmetzer in real life was, I think it was like my first few months in MLS, and Seattle was playing Dallas in some playoff game in Frisco. And it was just like, Jill, you're going to go cover this game. You don't know anything about these two teams. I'd played soccer, but I hadn't worked in soccer. And I went down to the hotel bar to, have a drink and go to sleep. And Brian Schmetzer came over and paid my tab. And those are the things you remember. You did. You were sitting there with the assistants, like in your little, like, dark corner. And you paid my tab. So thank you very much.
Wow.
What a guy.
What's on tap? Well, I will tell you what's on tap. Just to honor Brian Schmetzer, our esteemed guest this week, we've got a full slate of games, June 23rd, and the Seattle Sounders will be playing Real Salt Lake at 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus and DAZN. So we had to show some love for Schmetz and the Sounders. What a guy. I'm still kind of recovering from that interview, Jill. I'm not going to lie.
I can't wait to have Schmetzer back on.
I know. We need to revisit this. I think he had fun. I think he liked us. I think he had fun.
I think he had fun too. I'm going to also have some fun actually getting back to work and not just drinking wine and hanging out with you. No offense.
What?
I'll be covering Atlanta United taking on NYC FC. That game's at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN Plus and DAZN.
Thanks for watching, listening. We'll see you guys soon. Cheers. What's up, everybody? It is Susannah Collins and Jillian Sakovitz, co-hosts of The Call Up. And if you want more Call Up action, hit like and subscribe right here on YouTube, right there.
And also make sure that you download every episode of The Call Up every single Tuesday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time or anywhere that you get your podcasts. And while you're here, why not check out some of these other videos as well?